Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good to get started.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Hi everyone. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
I can hear you perfectly. Awesome. My name is Dion Decker, and thanks to Anna and Sean for joining us as well, and May Rose, who is gonna listen into this later, for introducing us all to each other. I don't know if you guys know May Rose, but big thanks to her. So I am just going to walk through a little bit about myself and what I do and show you guys some cool architecture. I am an architect and I live in Copenhagen in Denmark, which is quite far away. Can you guys see the screen okay? Can you see this slide that says background and projects?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so I'll talk a little bit about myself, what I do, what I've worked on, and then a little bit about the farm that we worked on with Sean, and you guys have shown me some sketches. We'll do that at the end. So this is me on the bottom right. This is the room I work from, which is just at home. And I grew up in a small town, a small farm town in Reedley, California. And I currently live in Copenhagen and moved here a year ago. I went to school at Cal Poly, which is a university in California where I studied architecture. And then I worked at a bunch of different places in New York and San Francisco, and then started my own company basically after that. And so I'm sure you have some questions about what an architect does, but essentially, buildings get built by contractors, and architects come in at the very, very beginning, and we work with the people that live in the buildings to come up with ideas for how they should look and how big they should be and what the materials should be. So we create sketches and we create drawings that eventually goes to the contractor and gets built. So this is a house. This is the very first project I did on my own. It's got a bunch of windows and then big views over the mountains. And here you can kind of see all the glass. And I work with engineers and contractors to come up with crazy shapes for buildings, basically. And a few years ago, before this, I got to work at big architecture firms. And this one was at a firm in New York City where I worked for a project for this person on the bottom right, who you may recognize. And it's after he was president, he built a library for the community in Chicago. And I got to work on the designs for the library. And so we came up with this big museum type space where we were creating exhibits of when he was a basketball player and showing off who he was in the past and the history and where he came from. So that was pretty cool. And then the year after that, I got to work on a project for the Golden State Warriors. Anyone know who this person is right in the middle of the screen? A little tough to see. Anyone know Steph Curry? Yeah. You guys. So he plays here at the Chase Center with the Warriors, and I got to design a building out in front of the Chase Center with the company that I worked for, which this building is basically a big plaza, and it has a sort of auditorium space where you can hang out before games. And they do the broadcasts. Charles Barkley and those guys do their broadcasts inside the building. And we created a building where you can actually walk around the broadcast and see it from the backside. So you see behind the scenes of the broadcast. And then they also project the games onto the arena on the outside of the screen. And so this is a big kind of auditorium space. And I think Steph liked it. I worked with May Rose and Anna on this project on Kauai as well, and it's for a school. And what we did here was come up with some designs for the layout of some new buildings on campus. And it's just such a beautiful location. But we got to work with the faculty on campus to come up with some ideas for new buildings. And I'll show you a little bit how that works. So normally we have these 3D models. Can you guys see this yellow and blue building on screen here?
Yes.
So it's a 3D model that we essentially use to create the designs for a building. So inside here are 2 shipping containers and a big workshop. So what they want us to do on campus was build a car repair shop and a metal shop and a wood shop with shipping containers, and then put this big roof over the top of it. So what I do is I use a 3D model called Rhino, and then we have this software that creates renderings, and we can fly around the building and put materials on it and see what it looks like from different angles. And we can go inside of it and see people working, building projects, and then we can zoom outside again. And so we create, essentially as architects, renderings like this to show how the building is going to look, you know, when it's finished, when it's under construction and completely done. But this is all imaginary and in 3D. So that's one of my favorite parts of my job, is doing that in 3D. And we also work on smaller projects. So this last one is a little tree house that's 50 feet up in the air. And I don't know if anyone likes to climb trees. I loved climbing trees when I was younger, but imagine, you know, climbing up to this tree house and sitting inside and having a view out from 50 feet in the air. And we made it all glass all the way around so that you can see 360 out to the views beyond. And in this case, it was a river in Northern California. Okay, so I've talked about this project for Ho'akeolopono, which is the Trades Academy in Anahola. And the way we normally start a project is by looking at the site. And we'll talk about the farm in a moment. But everything we do always starts with inspiration from the place that we're building on. So in this case, it's a parcel of land in Anahola that the client is building a building on, and a series of buildings on. But everything we do, materials and colors and inspiration, all comes from the colors of the soil, the foliage, the wind, the sun, everything that's very, very, very specific to that particular location becomes inspiration for how we design. And we use Pinterest. I don't know if you guys have heard of Pinterest, but a tool that we use online where we can save pictures and the client saves pictures and we all share them together, and they say, oh, we would like to build a tiny home community. And here's a few examples of things we see online that we like. And we save them, and then I can look at them in Copenhagen, and I can save some photos, and they could look at them again in Kauai, and it just becomes a collaboration. So here's some photos they sent me. So you can see when we look at the 3D view again, and we go to the outside, you can kind of see how we designed the building to look a little bit like what the client wanted and what inspired them. Basically, this big open space, because the weather is so perfect out there. We don't need to build walls. We can just create a roof over the top and let the breeze blow through, and just create a really cool space. And there's the final rendering that the client gets. So let's talk about the farm. So Sean had, like I said earlier, has talked about the history, and I don't know if you guys put together some of the sketches for the farm, but we'll talk about those in a moment. But like I was saying, we always start, the most important thing an architect does is listen to their client and listen to the stories and the values and the things that are important to them. And in this case, Sean had put together a little presentation where he talked about the history. And it was interesting that some of the students talked about shrimp, and it was actually in some of the history of the site. And I just think that there's a lot of creativity there with that overlap. So we pull together photos, and when I don't get to go to the site, I get inspiration from drone views and drone photos as well, like a Google Earth shot, for example. So these are the sketches that some of the students made, and I'm not sure if you guys made these or not, but I just thought they were really cool and very inspiring to see a lot of the ideas that you had for the farm, like a picnic place and ATVs and ponds and fishing and turtles and horseback riding and all that. That was so cool. So I'll show you now an example of how we would take something like this, all these different ideas, 100 ideas, and we can bring them together into what's called a site plan. And so here's a colored site plan, which Sean is looking at very closely because he hasn't seen this before, but it's essentially one idea for bringing all these scattered ideas together into a layout for the whole site. And I think we're going kind of quickly here, Anna, but the last thing I want to talk about is how do we take these sketches and make them into 3D colored images like I was showing you with the model. And one of the tools that we started to use is called Midjourney. And what it does is it allows us to create colored renderings very quickly based on ideas you have for a building, for a property, for a space. So these are AI generated images, which is a very new thing and a very interesting tool that people are starting to use. AI, artificial intelligence, means that these renderings you see on screen, which look like photographs, I'll zoom into one of them. These are not real, they look like a photo, but these are completely imaginary things that the internet comes up with. It's a little hard to explain or understand. I don't even really understand how it works, but I think we can end this by just trying to make a few ourselves. So if you guys can still hear me, a few of the ideas that I think would be fun to try out are like ATV and shrimp pond and horseback riding. So let's try to make a few together. So I'm going to take the sketches that you guys made here, and Anna and I have worked to pull out some of the ideas that you guys came up with: the volleyball court, the arena, like I was saying, horseback riding, ATVs I saw in there a few times. And let's see if we can make a few renderings together on Midjourney. So this first one, I typed in ATVs, and I type in Kekaha, Hawaii, and taro plants, and hale, and we'll hit enter. And then in about 10 seconds, we'll have some renderings. So you'll have to be a little patient with me, but I did some earlier and we can look at those first. So I asked it to make some horseback riding images, and it just came up with these really beautiful images. It didn't really get the farm in the background, but it got some pretty cool horses pretty flowers and beautiful images. And so it says here it's 78% done, so it's almost done. And then we'll zoom into it. There we go. So here's a few images that it produced of, it looks like maybe some pineapple, taro, some ATVs. It looks like it made a really big farm with lots of buildings in the background, especially this one on the right. But I think it's pretty interesting that these are just, you know, in 10 seconds, very unique images that it can produce. Let's try to make one more. So I type in imagine, and I could type in riding around on horses. What else? Anyone in the class have any ideas? Anyone want to put anything in these images? Just shout it out. I can hear you.
Skate park.
Playground.
Oh God.
Oh, sweet. Skate park. Let's just focus on that one first. Playing in a skate park. Playground. Skateboarders. Okay, I need to delete some of the other words. So, okay, hit enter. And then we'll make another one of a playground.
Oh, there is one already. There's already one.
Did you put dirt bikes?
Yeah, put some dirt bikes in there.
Glad from last year, CCs. That's all we did.
Walk slide.
No. No.
The other one's already underway. Here we go. Enter. There it goes. Whoa, it's turning into a very spirally skate park. I've never seen a skate park like that. This one looks really cool with all these plants growing in it. That's crazy. Wow. Okay, let's I like these, but let's see if it can make 4 more. So we'll click this button and it'll produce 4 new ones for us.
A zoo. A zoo.
What do you guys? A zoo. Okay, let's try that.
Water park.
And then a water park.
Water park. Parks.
Okay. So here's the cool thing about Midjourney. You tell it to do motorbikes, or what did we say? Dirt bikes. And it just did a few dirt bikes, but also normal bikes, BMX bikes, smaller bikes, and a playground on the top left here. That's pretty cool. Wow. This one got a nice little terraced garden in the middle with the bike paths going around the outside of it. I kind of like that. Oh, here's 4 more skate park images. Whoa. This looks like a theme park. Oh, cool.
Like car meet.
Should we get some like skateboarders and scooters
Yes.
in there?
Yes.
Okay, let's see if we can tell the brain to make some, to add some skateboarders. With skateboarders, scooters. rollerblades. Why not?
What?
Oh, what?
Okay, here's our zoo. Let's see how that turned out. Whoa, pretty crazy. I think it would be fun to make this show some of the ponds too. I think a lot of you guys had like shrimp ponds and turtle ponds.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you do a car meet?
Do a what?
Car meet.
Car meet. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay, I'll try it.
What does that mean?
Crazy. Okay, let's try to find some more. These were some I did earlier of ponds and terraced landscapes that I thought were kind of beautiful, especially this one on the bottom left. And you can actually make them scale up too. So we'll let that run in the background. Wow. So it's cool because for me, this, if I show you an example of how I work, this model that you see on screen took me maybe 2 days to make. And then I do the renderings, that takes me another day. So 2 or 3 days. And together with you guys, we've made this in how long? 2 minutes, maybe less. So that's pretty amazing that the technology we're dealing with today has advanced so much. So I think if it's something you guys want to try out, if you have access to the internet, you can open Discord and Midjourney will take you there. So what I'll do is send you at the last page of the presentation. I've put in the links here to all these different free tools that you can use that I use every day. So Midjourney here, and you just click on it and you can start making some of these yourself if you want. So that pretty much covers it. We could make a few more, or Anna, what do you think? We've kind of gone quickly through this, but
I had a question. Is Midjourney just for architecture, or can it be for like other renderings?
that's a great question. It can be for graphic design. It can be for photographers. So, my colleagues and I use it for interior spaces, exterior spaces, but it can really be used for so much. Like if we go into the actual Midjourney page, a lot of people use Midjourney to create different images. I probably shouldn't scroll too far, but there's different artwork you can create. And these are all, it's not like Google image where you're just finding an image, but it's actually a custom brand new idea that it comes up with. So it's pretty cool. If I'll show you one of the very first things I made was like, imagine an owl mixed with a watermelon. And I could show you that it's not just architecture that it makes, but it's actually can do basically anything. So I'll just put in here a few more things like watermelon seed spots on an owl, green and
Can you add
pink
dinosaurs to the zoo?
colors. I definitely can. So I'll just show you quickly how it's not just architecture. that we can use this for, but a lot of a broad range of things. But yeah, I can do kind of a Q&A, Anna, if that's helpful. If anyone has any questions, let's let this one finish, and then we could do some questions maybe. But it's almost done. Look at that.
Whoa. That's cool.
So it's pretty amazing that, you know, obviously these four owls are totally imaginary, right? But you can see the spots on them are like the seeds of a watermelon, especially this one on the bottom right. So you can mix together a house made out of spaghetti, an owl made out of watermelon, whatever you want. It's kind of, the sky is the limit.
Do you guys have any questions?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Does it take money? Do you need money for it?
To use Midjourney?
Yeah.
No, it's free.
Yeah, this one's free. If you can get access to the internet, you can go to discord.com and get on Midjourney yourself for free.
How long
And it's
was
the
you,
same. Sorry, go ahead.
how long was you doing this? Didn't it say like years?
How long have I done this? Yeah, I've done this for about 10 years now. So after high school, I studied architecture, and then for 4 years, and then I've been working about 10 years after that or so. So about 10 years. Yeah.
How old are you?
How old am I? I'm twice your age, however old you are, multiply times 2.
So 24.
Yeah, more or less.
Okay.
No, I'm 35. 34 times 3. Yeah. Any other questions?
An architect?
No.
Yeah. Huh?
Some yeses, some nos. No. Is anyone interested in architect?
It looks
If
fun.
we do something like that, yeah.
Yeah. I think University of Hawaii has an architect program. They used to be a doctorate, it was like 8 years or something, but now you can get your bachelor's degree in it. 4 years.
There you go. And in school, you get to build a lot of models. So you get to build, you know, physical models and use 3D printers, and there's all this exciting physical stuff too. It's not just digital. If you like to use your hands like I do, I love school because we got to build things in the wood shop and the metal shop and learn how to use tools that I can actually, like, you know, remodel a house with today, because I've learned some of those tools in school. So you can go to architecture school and not become an architect, and that's totally fine. So many of my friends did that. And you can also become an architect without going to architecture school too. Some of the best architects in the world are creative, artistic people who never went to school, but they're very creative. So.
You have another question?
Yeah.
What is your favorite I did like your favorite creation that you do?
Sorry, it was hard to hear you. My favorite
Your favorite creation that you did in
creation
yeah.
in Midjourney.
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't know. Don't you like these owls? These owls are pretty cool. No, I mean, it's hard for me to scroll up and find them, but when I was starting out, I made a mouse out of spaghetti. That was really cool. It was like a little tiny mouse, like a ratatouille type sized mouse, and it was all made out of spaghetti. And I showed it to my grandma, and she did not understand that it was fake. She couldn't understand whether it was real or fake or what it was, and it was very hard to explain what artificial intelligence is to anyone, let alone my grandma. So that was really fun. Yeah.
In Denmark, it's a girl. It's like, what time is it, Dion?
What time is it? It is 9 o'clock at night. Yeah.
Oh,
So if you look at a globe or the Earth, we're pretty much on opposite sides.
Yeah, exactly.
9 o'clock for us.
Yeah, so it's like a 12-hour difference. Yeah.
Denver.
Denver.
Wait, right?
Yeah. That's cool, though.
He's doing this. Okay.
That was Denver.
Denver.
No, Denmark, in Copenhagen. So he's bringing up a map right now. That's
Okay. You're over here,
It's in Canada.
and I'll zoom out. I'm over here where the red pin is.
Very.
Wait,
So maybe it's closer if we go this way, actually. If we go over China and Japan, it might be faster. Or if we go straight over the top, it might actually be even faster. Go over the Arctic. That'd be cool. I wonder if we could measure that. Say that again.
How long do you think it'll take you to fly an airplane? Like hours.
To fly an airplane?
Yeah, like over.
Which way? Which way do you want me to go? Underneath or over? It'll probably take me a day. A day, no matter which way I go, it'll take me a day. But that's why we have Zoom. We can do it in real time.
I like airplane. I do.
anybody have any other questions? Have you guys been up to Pool Park Farm?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think one-
have, yeah.
No.
I think wait, did we go last year? No, we never. Like almost the end of school.
I did feel fine.
But like, do you guys see
So-
how something like this can help create or imagine what that space would look like, or what you guys want to see that space look like?
Yeah.
Yeah. So some of you guys gotta become architects.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a good job, right, Dion?
Oh, it's so fun. Yeah, I really love it. And I think Sean would love to work with you guys to make some of these things a reality. It could be super cool. I don't want to speak for Sean, but
Yeah, there's a lot we can do, kids, with the opportunity is there for us to utilize the land up in Puupai. There's a lot of ideas that you guys have. There's a lot of things that we want to do as we help to work with our community, work with our kupunas, not only our kiki, but our kupunas as well. As we think about them and places for them to go. It's cool, how these pictures and these being able to come up with ideas and have such drawings that look so real. Yeah,
it's crazy.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
So we got a lot to do, a lot to plan. A lot of these things, I hope that some of you take a little seriously on the different options that's out there for you all, as far as a livelihood, maybe becoming an architect. There's also other parts to this too, becoming a farmer, becoming a contractor, somebody's got to build these homes, these buildings, working with infrastructure, which is like the larger contractors with excavators and bulldozers and all that stuff to make this happen too. So there's a lot that goes into these buildings, infrastructure, contractor, there's plumbers, there's electricians, there's a wide range of different choices, on what you may want to be one day, so these are our options anyway. So thanks, Dion. This is beautiful. This is unreal.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks, Sean, for your input there. I think I couldn't agree more. I think there's so many important roles we all play. So how you contribute to your community in any form, I think is just super important.
You guys good? You got any questions? Otherwise we can, balance later. Well, thank you, Sean. Thank you, Deanna, for today. This was great, and yeah, I want to say bye.
Thank you and bye.
Bye. Bye. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Aloha. Thank you, Dion. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Anna. Thanks, Sean.
Bye.